Right, hi guys. So I was just doing some 5x5 as as normal, and just getting like 49s and that, which is what I global. And it got me thinking, I've got a comp in a week, and there is only one round of 5x5, and it's my first round in 3 months, which is like kind of annoying because I feel like at this point, the only thing holding me back from getting like sub 50 is just like dealing with nerves in comp, like on the day. I've tried comp sims and that before, but they don't work as well for me as I think they do for like the average person, because there's just something in the back of my mind that knows that this isn't a comp, and it like being at home just isn't a comp, and it never will be. In as much as people also say like you should try and make your in comp solves as similar to your at home solves as possible. So like don't take ages to warm up and all of that. There's still something in the back of my mind then that says, well, this is a comp, so it does matter. Like there's at that point there's nothing I can do to change that, which is like kind of annoying. So it's just nerve control. That's basically all I've got to do, because my solutions are fine. Like I can find good solutions. I can turn well. I can look ahead because I can do all that at home. I just need to be able to do that in comp, but I can't do that because I don't have the rounds at the minute, which is, yeah, it's really annoying. I really want to get sub 50 because that's what I global, and I don't have it at the minute. And I've been overdue it for a long time, and I think I was thinking about this because I think that after a while, if you're overdue a good result, so if you global sub a certain barrier and you don't get your like official results, your official results don't reflect that for a while, then you're going to be obviously a bit annoyed. And then when you do eventually get it, if it's after like 3 months or something, you're going to be quite happy, right? That feels like a reasonable like progression. Obviously, it depends on like how many comps you go to, how many rounds you get, and all of that jazz. But if it takes like 6 months to a year in that kind of time frame between when you start globaling sub the barrier and then when you actually get it in comp, then you're going to celebrate even more, especially because if you've had several rounds in that time period where you've kind of like failed that barrier, like maybe you've had a couple of BPAs and then choked, or you just been solving bad, you've had like two good solves and three bad solves in an average or something like that, then obviously you're going to be really more annoyed at the fails, and then when you do get it, it's going to be more of a relief because you've had that build up of like not getting it and not getting it for a while. So then when you finally break through, it feels even better. But I think beyond a certain point, that feeling then goes away, and I reckon it's about the year mark, because certainly in my experience, I have felt for about the last year like I've been capable of a sub 50 average in comp. And this, to be honest, this probably does date back to August 2024, because at ABHC 2024, it was a 1 day comp. There were 2 rounds of 5x5. Happened to be the comp where I got a 5x5 sulfur. I got to last layer at just before 41, and I had a 12 move ZBLL that I knew, and I messed it up and got a 47 because I ended up like doing OLL PLL. And again, that's a whole separate story, because like I think, to be fair, had I tried to do the ZBLL, I would have done the wrong, like the mirror of the ALG, and I would have ended up with like a U perm or a Z perm or something like that, which wouldn't have been quite that bad. But the mirror of the ALG isn't. It's like a longer ALG or something. So, but it's also probably a bit safer to execute. This is a whole tangent I'm going on to. But anyway, that's not the point. That solve is not the point of this anecdote. The point is that I got a rolling sub 50 official average, and this was the time when I did not even have a sub 50 average at home yet. I was like close to it. My PB average of 5 was like 50.1 or 50.2 or something, but it was like close. I can't remember exactly what it was. I had rolling that solve, that 47 from the first round. I then got a 46 right after, which was my PR single for a while. And then those first two solves, the last two solves of the first round average, and then the first three solves of the next round were like, I think they were like 54, 58, 47 again or something. So in terms of the rolling average, the counting times were 47, 47, 54. And even with the counting 54, that was enough for a rolling sub 50 average. And it was technically the first one I'd ever had, which was really annoying. Obviously, it like wasn't actually average because I did a load of solves for warming up and all of that between the rounds. But basically, since then, like I've almost kind of felt like I definitely can do it, because even though I've done it across like two separate rounds, like I feel it was at the same comp, the same day, like not more than a couple of hours apart, probably. That feels like I should be able to get close to it at least. And even if I wasn't obviously, that that was sub my overall PB at the time. Obviously, I wasn't globaling that level at that point in time. I figured as soon as I could get to globaling like around 50, then I should be able to get it, right. That would make sense. And then, of course, later down the line, maybe a bit over a year ago, I started getting really close to globaling sub 50. I was like right around 50, to the point where like I could get a sub 50 average of 5 at home reasonably easily. Obviously, like I said, I wasn't globaling it, so it wouldn't be like every average would be sub 50 or whatever. But like if even if I did a session of like 50 solves or something, I'd expect like one or two at least completely separate, not rolled sub 50 averages. So, like getting that in comp, in theory, not the hardest thing. Just have a good day. That should be doable, right? And my current PR average, 51.53, when I got that was in March of last year, so 14 months ago now. And that had sub 50 BPA, and the counting times were like, maybe it was like 50, 50, 54, I think, something like that. And I got worst possible average, and the 54 was what I needed to beat, obviously. So like that could have been so easy. Yeah, and then obviously I've not had any good rounds since then. Literally none of them have been anywhere close to what I global, because like a couple of months after that, basically I hit around about 50 sub 50 global. I was globaling sub 50 by UKC, and just since then I haven't had like masses of rounds. Certainly like the last 6 months I haven't had that many. It's not been like none. Basically, in the last calendar year, I've had 2 rounds each of 6x6 and 7x7. I've had quite a few more 5x5 rounds than that, so it's not been that bad. But obviously, I can't keep blaming my bad performance on not having rounds. Obviously, it doesn't help. I would certainly really like to have more rounds to get more practice and have more opportunities. Obviously, that's another big thing. At this point, because it's been so long, because it's been, I think at this point, over a year since I very reasonably could have got sub 50, and I still haven't got it yet. And hopefully it's not an if, hopefully it's a when I eventually get it, I feel like I'm just not even going to celebrate that much, because it'll feel so overdue. It'll feel like it's not even worth celebrating, because like I should have got it ages ago. I've been able to get it ages ago, and there's no reason why I couldn't have done. So like it feels like it's barely worth celebrating, because like that should be what I'm just able to get pretty much every round now. Like I don't know why it's so difficult. Obviously I still really really hope I get it, and I am going to be happy when I get it, because I do deserve it. I feel like I won't celebrate it in the moment, unless obviously it's like, if it's like low or sub 48, like if it's sub 48.5, then I'll celebrate quite a bit, because that's actually good for me. And if it's like some like 46 average or some fluke like that, then obviously that I would celebrate. At this point, sub 50, because it's my global and because I've been capable of that for so long, there's no point celebrating. Which is really sad, because like I really want to celebrate properly my first sub 50, because like I said, I've been capable of it for a year at least. It's been possible for a long time, and it's annoying that I haven't got it, and I want to have that satisfaction of thinking like, okay, I did get all of those fails, all of those chokes or whatever, but now I finally got it, and that I want to have that nice feeling. But I just feel like it'll be a bit underwhelming, and like I feel like I won't get that sort of level of satisfaction again, because I guess it's such a big mental barrier as well. But yeah, it's just a bit sad that's kind of how I'm feeling. So yeah, I thought I'd ramble on about this. Obviously, fingers crossed for the comp, and I do have, a handful more rounds over this summer, so hopefully all goes well. The way I've been going though, I'm not going to hold my breath. I just got to, keep practicing and know that eventually, because I am capable of it, I will be able to get it. That's all I can do. So, yeah, until then, I'll see you tomorrow.